Hi, my name is Megan and I'm an educator at the Long Beach Museum of Art. I am so excited to make some art with you today. We are going to be making some tinfoil sculptures. Artists use so many different materials to make sculpture. We're going to use some things that you might have lying around in your own space. So, first step is to gather our materials. I used some pipe cleaners and some foil. So this is just foil, like what you buy at the store. If you don't have any pipe cleaners, that's okay. You can make some pretty cool things just using foil. You might have some wire or other craft supplies that you want to use, and you are absolutely welcome to. But I'm going to be showing you with some pipe cleaners and some foil. Before we start creating, we need to come up with some ideas about what we can make. So today, you might have an idea of what you want to make already. I want to share just a few super cool things that others have made when visiting us here at the museum. Someone made this amazing surfer. So if you're feeling really ambitious, you could make something that fancy. We've got some basketball hoops, some different people using pipe cleaners and foil. We've got some glasses, some different kinds of flowers. So there's a bouquet of flowers made with foil here, but someone made a really cool flower with just some pipe cleaners. And we've got this amazing jellyfish. So while you think of your ideas, if you're still struggling to come up with what you want to think of, what you want to make today, maybe think about something that's really special to you. It could be a place, it could be a person, it could be an animal, it could be a character from something you really enjoy. If you need a little bit more time, you can pause the video here, take a few seconds to think. But if you are ready to create, I'm going to start sharing some tips about using our materials. So I'm going to be making a cat today because I have some cats that are super special to me. They remind me of my family, of my home. And for me, I'm going to create something called an armature. An armature is just a fancy word for the skeleton inside of a sculpture. So it's when I'm thinking about how I would even start to make a cat out of foil, I want to have something that's just the big shapes before I add on my foil. So we've got this basketball hoop here where you can see there's some foil at the bottom, but it's really just a pipe cleaner. That could be an armature. It's something that you can add on top of. You might want to use your materials in a different way, and that's okay. You can explore, figure out what works for you. There is not one right or wrong way to use your materials. But I'm thinking to myself, the big shapes of a cat are the head, the body, and the tail, and then the legs. So I'm starting with one pipe cleaner, and I'm just going to fold it up so I have this U shape. And then I'm going to fold down one side, and that's going to be my head. And then the other side is going to be the tail. And it doesn't really look like the head of a cat yet, but with some time it will. And I'm going to set that down. And then I'm going to start making the legs. This is what I've figured out to work for me, but this is not the only way to make a four-legged creature, so feel free to try out some of your own ideas. But I took one pipe cleaner, I folded it in half, and then I squished it so that it would stay, and then I just put it right across the back of the cat here, and I'm pinching it and twisting it. These pipe cleaners actually have wire inside, so it'll hold on nice and strong. And now, if I wanted my cat to be walking around on stilts, I could leave the legs this long, but my cats aren't that tall, so I'm gonna fold the legs up, twist the pipe cleaners so they stay. And I'm leaving these loops to kind of be feet because I want to try to make it stand up at the end. And then I'm just going to do the same thing to make the back legs. So now I have my cat armature. You'll notice it's a little bit wonky. It's twisted in all these different directions. That's okay. I'm going to spend a little bit of time kind of fixing it, but yours might be flopping all over the place, not standing up very well. That's okay. Adding foil will make it stronger. It's just going to take a little bit of time. So don't worry if it's flopping all over the place. I'm going to set this to the side because I am ready to add some foil onto my creation. So if you have a big sheet of foil, mine is probably about 2 feet of foil. You are welcome to tear it into smaller pieces when you start to add it onto your creation, to your sculpture. I would recommend a piece that's about the size of your hand because I started out by ripping tiny pieces to do all my details and they did not stay on. It got a little bit frustrating for me. So it's much easier to use a big piece and squish it down super small than attach a bunch of tiny ones together. And I'm looking at my cat here and I'm thinking I'm just gonna start adding on in all the different sections. So I'm gonna start by adding foil to the body of my cat. And I took a big piece, I'm folding it and rolling it around. And then I'm just gonna squish it. If you squish it super tight, it's gonna get very skinny. So if you're trying to make something super skinny, you can squish it super tightly. But my cat, to be honest, is pretty chunky. So I'm gonna add another layer of foil. And I'm not gonna squish as hard. So I'm being a little bit more gentle and you'll notice that it's bigger. So at this point, I'm just gonna keep adding foil onto my cat. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time doing that. You can spend some time exploring and creating your own sculpture. Again, it can be a little bit tricky. It took me, some trial and error to learn how to make this cat. So don't worry if things don't turn out on the first try. So after a little while, I added a lot of foil to my cat. I made all of these feet so that it will stand up. I made some whiskers, which took me a lot of effort. I managed to attach them around on the head. And I made some ears. I've got my tail here. So this is how my cat turned out. And once you're done with your own creation, you can share it with someone. Maybe you did this project with someone else and you could share your creations with each other, or you could build a story about your creations. I'm sure I could come up with some super cool stories about this cat and my surfer here and all of the antics they get up to. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today creating art, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!